Story time. Today's topic, Francesco Borromini. Francesco Massari, Borromini's talented scrappellino, or stonecutter, who was in charge of Borromini's work at San Carlo and San Giovanni dei Fiorentini, stayed with him as a servant. The architect's confessor, Father Oriozano Calera, visited Borromini, hoping to soothe his mind and spirit. Nothing helped for long. Borromini's mind was too agitated, his heart couldn't find peace. After dinner, on August 1st, in the glow of lamplight, Borromini began to draft a new will. He wrote in graphite, preferring its suppleness to the lines made by ink. He worked in his room until late, long after the summer sun had set. Oh, I can relate. This was not unusual. Borromini was known to stay up all night, pondering a particularly thorny architectural problem when working out the details of one of his plans. Also relate. The night was quiet and there were few distractions. No visitors were expected and none arrived. Around midnight, Massari, who had already gone to bed, called into Borromini, "Signor Cavaliero, you ought to put out the light and go to sleep because it's late and the doctor wants you to sleep," he said. "I should have to light the lamp again when I wake up," Borromini replied. "Put it out, because I'll light it again when you wake up," Massari promised. As Borromini explained later, "I stopped writing, put away the paper on which I had written a little, and the pencil with which I was writing, put out the light, and went to sleep." It's the right decision. Nothing like a clear mind. Well, enough with that, and on to the building itself. The San Carlo ai Quattro Fontane is translated into English as the St. Charles at the Four Corners, referring to the four fountains at the four corners of the site that the building was accommodated in its construction. The building was constructed between the dates 1638 and 1641 in Rome, Italy, under the design of Francesco Borromini. The San Carlo ai Quattro Fontane was the first building that Borromini was independently commissioned. The site of the building is generated by two roads that diverge, creating a difficult site to design a symmetrical building, one of the guidelines that Borromini was supposed to build under. Borromini's ability to overcome the limitations generated by the awkward site is what makes him one of the most well-regarded Italian architects, even to this day. So here's a picture of that site with the building here, that way, and the roads diverging on either side, creating a very difficult, awkward site for him to build on. San Carlo ai Quattro Fontane is marveled to this day primarily because Borromini drew inspiration from Baroque architecture to create something that is truly unique. The building is also very significant because it displays the first signs of use of equilateral triangles and significant use of geometric shapes. This is evident in the balustrade, where Borromini diverges from every existing way of making balusters, where he forms an equilateral triangle about the base, where many other designers such as Michelangelo and Bramante even use circular balusters. This can be seen in the top here, where the balusters are shaped unlike any that preceded it. Another distinguishing characteristic that Borromini employed in the design of the chapel is a three-dimensional twist created by bays in the chapel that create the illusion of larger amounts of space than they actually reside. The impressions of the spectator created by Borromini extend beyond the facades and designs of the surface, but also in the way that the wall itself is treated. Blunt describes the walls, one of the authors who wrote about Borromini, as being treated with an almost sculptural manner, which sculptors to this day like Richard Serra study, with columns placed within the very walls, and by doing so do not impede the movement of the walls, but rather add strong vertical supporting elements to accompany the horizontal directionality of the walls. Arguably, it is more interesting to see the clever alterations made to an architectural style than completely create a new one, because it supplies a reference for the spectator to compare the clever new designs that Borromini, for example, devises. After all, it is the San Carlo ai Quattro Fontane fulfills The Borromini successfully fulfills the client's need for economy, plainness, and austerity while giving them grandeur, intricacy, and drama. Borromini does not reinvent the process of designing buildings, per se, because doing so in itself cannot be deemed modern, as we discussed in 114 class. But rather he creatively manipulates existing Baroque architectural trends in an aesthetically and technically unique and creative way. Here's how here's some preliminary drawings of his plan, where he shifts the building over to create more space that's outlined here. Here's from the front. It's a very prominent structure, considering the fact that he didn't have very much space. Here's a section through the building, also very spacious, and here's these bays that are actually convex to create more space inside. Another picture inside. Very spatial once again, the theme of Borromini's building and one of the main reasons it's so recognized. And here's another. This is actually a very intricate way that the plan, was laid out, which, although when you're inside the building, it doesn't seem that way, but it's actually very intricately laid out. All right, thank you for listening, and hope you learned a little bit about Borromini and the San Carlo Quattro Fontane.